A real-life treasure hunt is underway in New York City, but not for gold or silver. Dive teams are searching for something even rarer, the priceless bones of some prehistoric creatures. Nancy Chen went along for the dive. Nancy.
Yeah, this is pretty wild, isn't it? Good morning to you all. How they got there, though, and if they're actually there at all, is up for plenty of debate. But that hasn't kept these adventurers from heading down into the water to find out.
The search for elusive hidden fortune has long captured the imagination of thrill seekers. From the fictional secret chambers full of gold and the blockbuster film National Treasure, to the real-life, cold and rather murky waters of New York City's East River.
1, 2.
Diving.
Oh.
These modern-day treasure hunters are looking for this. Woolly mammoth fossils, 50 tons of bones and tusks from the extinct species that last roamed the earth about 10,000 years ago. They were possibly dumped in the river right off Manhattan's Upper East Side back in the 1940s.
Is this safe?
This boat is very safe.
Okay.
On the hunt today, professional diver Don Gann and his team. Gann, better known as Dirty Water Don, is a regular on Discovery Channel's series Sewer Divers.
How many times do you think you've made this trip now?
I've made this trip 2 times a day for 3 weeks straight.
They're just one of many diving groups who have spent the last month battling muddy water, rapid currents, and fast-moving ships, looking for any sign of the prehistoric prize. The team's as optimistic as treasure seekers throughout the ages. This underwater expedition got started not with a traditional treasure map, but something far more modern, a podcast.
I'm going to start a bone rush.
A bone rush?
Yes, sir.
The Joe Rogan Experience, with its 11 million listeners per episode. In December, Rogan hosted Alaskan gold miner and fossil collector John Reeves. He says starting in the 1920s, tens of thousands of mammoth fossils have been unearthed in Fairbanks on what is now his property. Some of the bones and tusks were shipped to New York's American Museum of Natural History to be studied. That is, Reeves says, until the museum ran out of space.
In the 40s, they took about a whole boxcar load of these bones. They ran out of storage and they dumped them in the East River.
Just threw it in the water?
Yes, sir.
Is it still there?
I don't know.
Could it be still there?
Could be.
Some of it, maybe?
Certainly the tusks.
Do you know where it was?
Yes, sir.
The center of Reeves' claim, an unpublished manuscript written about 30 years ago.
There were thousands and thousands of bones sent to the American Museum in the 30s and 40s. So really huge volume, and maybe they didn't have storage.
Robert Sattler, an Alaskan archaeologist, is one of the paper's co-authors. He says its lead author, Richard Osborne, who was part of the original Alaska digs, heard from colleagues about the bones being tossed into the river, much like the city used to dump its snow in the same stretch of riverfront, as seen here in this 1947 photo. But Osborne died not long after writing the report, which lay dormant for decades, until now.
Do you think these divers are on a wild goose chase?
My impression is yes, they are. But saying that, I believe there probably are some of those bones in the East River, someplace. But whether they'll be found, I doubt it.
The American Museum of Natural History itself poured cold water on this already watery pursuit, saying, "We do not have any record of the disposal of these fossils in the East River, nor have we been able to find any record of this report in the museum's archives or other scientific sources." But that denial wasn't enough to stop divers from racing across the country to hunt for the bones anyway, despite the risks.
How dangerous is it to dive out here?
It is the world's most dangerous job without this aspect. Now you're adding heavy current, heavy boat traffic, zero visibility, frigid water temperatures, and the depth. So on a scale of 1 to 10 of danger, 10 being the worst, it's a 10.
The challenges amplified by a rocky riverbed.
Once you get down there, you'll notice the bottom is on an angle like this. It's tapered, so it goes from 20 feet down to almost 70 to 80 feet in some locations. and then you can't see your hand here. And you're wearing bright blue gloves and you cannot see your hand.
If you can't even see in front of you, how are you going to find bones?
You get real close.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, you get real close, you gotta go. You feel it with your hands. It's time consuming, but you just keep doing it.
So far, all they found are old bottles, a pickup truck, and what seems to be the city's entire supply of bike shares. But not a single bone. Yet their deep dive for adventure and treasure continues.
You've made 60 trips out there so far.
Yep.
Do you think it's going to be worth it?
Yes and no. Because even if I don't find anything, I could be 70 years old on my front porch going, I tried.
Yeah.
I won't live in regret. I say I gave it an honest effort.
And there are worse ways to spend a day.
Oh, there's 100 worse ways to spend a day.
What's fun about all of this, I mean, the chances of something actually being found are slim to none, right? But at the same time, this speaks to the power of the podcast, but also the power of adventure. And it seems like a lot of fun.
There's always hope. It's still amazing that a boxcar full of woolly mammoth bones, you would just say, we got no room for it, let's dump it in there.
Right. Exactly. I mean, museums have ways of storing things that they don't have room for displaying, and it's certainly usually not throwing it in the East River.
So when they find those city bikes and the other, like, things people have thrown away, they don't pick them up and take them out? And
I mean, sometimes they let people know, but I think there are so many city bikes. If you were to take every single one out, you'd be there for a long time.
why?
Off the river a little bit, though. That's a thought.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Nancy.